Afternoon, my name is Kieran McCoy, and today I will be going over Groundwork and Phase 1 under the TQA Training Quality Assurance for Colt Starting 2022. TQA is a non-profit organization with the goal of attaining the training trifecta, which is temperament, task completion, and foundation, and learning how to eliminate resistance while doing a job. Millie is a 7-year-old sorrel male quarter horse who I will be using to show Groundwork and Phase 1 today. This is the TQA Groundwork worksheet, which shows us what we should be working on every single day with our horses. This is the next level, which is Phase 1, and this includes riding. We track our work using these score sheets, and it is between -3 and +3. -3 being there needs to be a lot of work done, and +3 being they understand it and have completed the task. An important term that we use a lot is willing submission, which can be defined as after initial cue, the horse performs the task on a loose rein with no leg pressure. For good to catch, I gave her a +2, and right there I do go underneath the neck, which is something that I do not recommend doing with a colt. You should really try going over their head so they are able to see it better and not be in a blind spot. Moving on, I gave her a +1 for leading with willing submission. I have to walk sometimes pretty slow with her, but I really want to make sure that she is getting pressure release and is responding to my cue. Another important term to know is horizontal direction, which is when the slack is taken out of the rein, the horse puts slack back into the reins with suppleness through the poll and loin. For horizontal direction, I give her a +1.5, and for stage 1, I give her a +1. And stage 1 can be defined as stopping the inside front legs and moving the other legs forward around it. For stage 4, I gave her a +2 to the left, and that can be defined as the inside hind stops and the other legs move forward around it. For stage 1 in the other direction, I gave her a +2, and then for stage 4 to the right, I gave her a +1. And for stage 2, I gave her a 0 because I still kind of have to put some pressure on the rope, and stage 2 can be defined as the hindquarters pulling the horse in a reverse motion. For stage 3 to the right, I gave her a +1, and stage 3 can be defined as lateral movement of the front and hind feet together. The reason why I give her a +1 is because she gives a lot of willing submission, but it still is a lot of asking before she gives me anything. For stage 3 to the left, I gave her a +1 as well. For stage 1 in a crisis on the ground, I gave her a +3. It's super important for your horse to face up when they are in crisis, and she does that very well. For horizontal direction, standing to the left, I gave her a +1.5. And for horizontal directions, standing to the right, I gave her a +2, just because she was a bit more willing on this side and quicker about it. Right there, I just waited for her to give, and then I released when she did. For her front feet, I gave her a +2, and for picking up her back feet, I gave her a +1. I will say the only thing I wouldn't recommend is not holding onto your lead rope. I know this horse really well, and I really do trust that she's not going to go anywhere, but for a colt, this is not recommended. For standing to be saddled, I gave her a +3 because she's super calm about it and really isn't trying to move anywhere at all. Something that's super important with the colts is that we don't saddle them tied up, because if they do freak out, we want them to be able to move and get away. For standing to be bridled, I gave her a +2. And here the mistake I made was not making the bridle extra long and then tightening it after I put it in her mouth. She is an actual pretty finished horse and is pretty willing to put the bridle in her mouth. She's sometimes just lazy and won't open her mouth, but she has been trained not to bob her head when I do that. Do not do that with a colt their first time because it will probably make their head bop up. And then right here, I'm moving her head side to side, just trying to get her to drop her head a little bit. And right there, I stop and pet her. Right here, another important thing that you do with a colt before you get on is that you do 2 half hitches and you tie the reins up to your horn. And then you have a halter underneath the bridle. And you want to do 2 half hitches underneath on both sides and make sure everything's like tight and snug and wouldn't get loose if you let the horse run and get its energy out before getting on top. An important thing to remember is that everything we do in the halter on the ground, we do in the bridle before getting on. This is just to double check that everything is okay and they're comfortable with the bridle in their mouth. So for horizontal direction in the bridle, I gave her a +2. And then for stage 1 in both directions, I gave her a +2 as well. For stage 4 to the right in the bridle, I gave her a +2 as well. And for stage 4 to the left, I gave her a +2. For stage 3 to the right, I gave her a +1. Stage 3 is definitely the hardest stage for her. She just really struggles with the lateral movements, and I just really have to pick up my energy to get any real movement out of her. And for stage 3 to the left, I also gave her a +1. Always make sure after the stages, whatever stage you do, make sure that you ask for stage 1 and they face back up to you. For stage 2 in the bridle, I gave her a +2 because I just got a lot more willing submission and she really used her hind when I asked her in the bridle. For stage 1 in a crisis in the bridle, I also gave her a +3. Really, when I pick up that flag, she just very much willingly looks at me. And right there, she still had some pressure on the rein, so I didn't completely relax until she completely relaxed. And for this next part, I completely forgot to record this, so I sadly have to use this old video. But a really important step before you get on your horse is making sure that you can get horizontal direction away from them as well. I gave her a +1. For stand to get on, I gave her a +3. She really does not move. I then adjust myself to comfortably be able to ask for horizontal direction on the side. So as you can see, I start flapping my leg back and forth on her hind, just asking really nicely for some horizontal direction in stage 1. I gave her a +2 in this direction. It's also really important to do this on both sides of your colt to make them comfortable for you getting on either side of them. And for this side as well, I gave her a +2. for horizontal direction on the side, and for standing, I gave her a +3. As you can see, she is very willingly just standing here. She is quite a lazy horse, which makes this a lot easier to do. And now I'm going to try to adjust myself to get in a comfortable position. I don't think I got in the most comfortable position I could. I'm really trying to work on this myself to find the most balanced spot on the side of the horse. So right here, I don't feel very balanced, so I'm pretty nervous, and you can see that I'm pretty stiff. I'm not really even asking her to move. I'm honestly trying to ask her to stop. So I'm pretty happy with that though, so I kind of just stop and go on to the next step. The next step is then fully getting on and then asking for horizontal direction standing, which I gave her a +3 for both directions. She was really willing. Like, I picked up on that rein and she immediately gave me her head. And then after that, you then walk off and ask for some horizontal directions going in both directions. And I gave her a +2 for both of these. This is just to make sure that we really have their brains and we really get them thinking right when we get on them. For stage 1 standing, I gave her a +2 for both directions. As you can see, she really willingly moves that hind around. And this is to prepare for the doubling that we are going to do later on. Horizontal direction jogging, I gave her a +2. She really willingly gives me her head and gives me really nice circles. For stage 2 standing, I gave her a +2. She really gave me a lot of vertical direction and really tried to use her hind and got underneath herself. Doubling is a stage 1 at any speed at any time. It is our emergency stop in a crisis, so it's really important that your horse responds to you doubling at any speeds before the crisis happens. So for doubling at a walk, I gave her a +2. It's important on a colt to only be riding in one hand unless you are doubling them, and I just need to work on remembering to do that. At times in this video, I do pick up on her and ask with both hands for direction or something, and I need to work on not doing that. For doubling at a jog, I gave her a +1. And loping off soft, I gave her a +2. She actually has a injury to her back hind, so I can't really ask too much of a lope for her still. So I only was able to really do this once, and I gave her a +1 for doubling a lope. And that is it for groundwork and phase 1. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.